I'd like to ask anybody from the local affiliate here in Orange County if they have any questions first.
Name 2 milestones that you would like to reach by the end of your term if you were elected.
So first,
Everybody?
yeah. Is it-
Anybody who's willing to answer.
All right. So who wants to answer first?
Go ahead. As I alluded to earlier, the learning management system is so important. I want to get that done within the first 100 days or less. That's something that's very important and something we can build on for the future, to institutionalize our knowledge, to actually archive what we know and pass it down. So that's definitely something important. That's something fundamental that we need to see happen. Other than that, I really want to see the nourishment of an ecosystem of successful libertarian candidates and support. I want to see an ecosystem of libertarian campaign treasurers, libertarian fundraisers, libertarian campaign managers and staff, and of course moving our elected officials upward through the pipeline. So those are 2 major fundamental things that we need to see flourish in the state of Florida. And I definitely think I can accomplish that within a first term.
Next.
Yeah, I have 2 goals that I would like to see us all accomplish in the next year or 2. A, that when every voter goes into the voting booth, they see the name Libertarian and they actually understand what that stands for. Hopefully there's candidates in every race, but if they see the Libertarian party affiliation, they actually understand that. Maybe even hopefully look for it. And number 2, I go back to the original tune that we're all singing up here, that see a vibrant and functioning committee structure that actually responds to the affiliates, provides services to the affiliates, and are all on board with supporting our candidates and affiliates. That's my goal. Thank you.
The 2 goals that I would like to set out for the state party that I do think that I can achieve in one term is definitely some kind of infrastructure set up to reduce turnover. I think we definitely do need an onboarding process when it comes to members that are being onboarded to the executive committee. We need to have clear, defined roles, especially for the at-large directors. Currently, we don't have a defined role. More so, it's just a role to maintain quorum on the EEC and another person to get a vote. I think that the role of the at-large directors need to be more clearly defined. And I think that that is an achievable goal, is to set defined roles and expectations of those who are being onboarded to the current slate for the executive committee. My second goal, which is lofty, but I would work tirelessly to, I would like to see a full slate of statewide candidates running for U.S. House in 2020. You know, with the upcoming redistricting and with the census coming up, we can get people on the ballot and people who fill out petitions statewide. We need to utilize that and have a game plan fully to our, we need to take advantage of it. We won't have an opportunity like this anytime soon.
Thank you so much.
I want to ask a question. Is there going to be a time limit for these questions?
Yes, 2 minutes.
Okay. So I have several milestones I'd like to accomplish in the next 2 years as chair. However, one of them is really lofty, and the rest of them kind of go hand in hand. So one of the first ones that's very possible, is kind of a medium to long-term goal, is I look at the state and look at all the major highways, I-10, 95, Turnpike, 75, what am I forgetting, I-4, and I think that if one of those major highways runs through your county, it should be affiliated. So we have 67 counties in the state of Florida. I'd like to see 34 of them affiliated. I'm the pro-affiliate, pro-bottom-up candidate in this race. My big goal, very big goal, and this inspiration came to me after visiting the National Party. I've been to Washington, D.C., Alexandria, Virginia, where our headquarters is, and sat down in Wes Benedict's office, the former executive director, and we need a headquarters. And I would like to see I would like to promote the idea to more affiliates that have a headquarters themselves. Currently, we only have one affiliate that has a headquarters. That is Lee County. So I'd like to see that be something that grows around the state. And I think that we could, I think if one affiliate had a headquarters, we could share that headquarters with them. The LPF could share with them. It's important to have a starting base where people can come to and you can have a face-to-face conversation with them. There's something about interacting with people, and as libertarians, we don't do, we could do better at that, I should say. And then that goes into another goal, which is very possible. The Libertarian Party of Miami-Dade made a commercial once. It was really cool, and I want us to do that as well. I want us to have training videos and more media, basically. And it falls not in line with my headquarters idea. But I think that some of these goals are very possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, as rules chair, from the rules committee, my goals are going to be a little bit different than the other gentlemen at this table. I have two priorities for the rules committee. One is an affiliate member bill of rights. That is so that each person in any affiliate knows what their rights are within the affiliate and within the state party. It's one of them. The other goal, and it's really important, is notice compliance. Our party and our state party and all its affiliates needs to get better about proper notice so that we are fulfilling our democratic function. It is not okay for us to put notices, on Facebook and count that as our primary notice. Guys, we would raise holy hell if some city council member said, well, it's in our stored email server, and said that, and so that should be our sufficient notice for raising the taxes 10%, okay? There are statutory requirements involved there. We need to get on that. Thank you.
Yes.
Spencer.
Mine are nice and simple. As I talked about before, committees are extremely important to me, and the institutional knowledge that we need to retain is obviously very important. I'd like to see every committee have some form of manual or some sort of description of what they're doing, their goals, and stuff like that. One thing I definitely plan on doing to track the progress of committees is creating some sort of spreadsheet. I don't know if you've heard, Spencer makes the spreadsheets. But I really like to track what projects committees have done, what projects they're working on, what projects are pending in the future that they could do whenever they feel like they're not doing much. And so that way we can keep them active, keep them on stuff that they're doing. And to have manuals that committee chairs and other members can write up for what they're going to do or what new committee chairs, new committee members need to know whenever they come in. Our governing documents obviously outline what committees do, sort of, in a general sense, but we need to make sure that we get a little more specific with that outside of the governing documents. The other one, I keep it nice and easy. Our affiliates are obviously very important. It's not necessarily the huge job of the vice chair to do that, but I do want to make it a big part of what I do. 3 out of 4 affiliates, or 3 or 4 counties are affiliated in my region under my term as region rep, and I want to expand that. I believe Omar said 34. I had 40 in my head. I really want to see a lot more affiliates come into the party. That's really where we're going to breed more people to join our committees, our executive committee, and stuff like that. Waiting for time. Thank you.
Any further questions from LPC? Wayne?
Okay. I'm an issues guy, okay? Been around a long time, and we always talk about running candidates. Nobody shows up for the candidates, they show up for their issues, okay? Alright, everybody here can pretty much today is libertarian because they got a hot button something, alright? Other than legalizing pot, okay, what issue do you think that we should run on, okay, to get people to come?
This is a question for the panel, right?
If they want to, I mean, to me, the chair in particular, but anybody else is free to answer too. I mean, I always respect this man. Don't want to get drunk talking to him at the convention, man. because you'll have to chew up your arm. But no, in a good way, yeah. I'm no micro-anarchist, but he almost had a kid, that's fine. Anyway.
So we can start, let's be fair, start with.
Start with the internet.
And then,
What issue other than pot? Okay, can we bring the public to bring?
I'm probably one of the only candidates up here that is straight edge, and that's kind of hard to believe because of the way I look. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about you, I'm Arthur Annette. My bad. The weirdos are over here in the corner. But libertarianism does not equate to being a libertine by any stretch of the means. My biggest issues are unilateral free trade and open borders. I firmly believe in the free movement of goods and people, and that is the only thing that is really going to bring about liberty in our lifetime. I don't think that is an idea that will get people into the Libertarian Party, but those would be my biggest issues. I think the drug war, although can be controversial, especially to those who adhere to a lot of paleo-conservative ideals, but I think it is one of the biggest positions. If we want to take a stance on a particular issue, that would be the hot button issue to take an issue on, because now 67% of the American public believe in the support the legalization of marijuana, and we could definitely start casting our line there. But my biggest issues are, like I said, unilateral free trade and the free movement of people.
Or? Okay, so this is a good question, Wayne. For anyone who's curious, to learn more about me as we're talking here, my website is online. It's overchair.com, upside down, but it's online right now. And one of the things I talk about on my website is issue advocacy. You're right. I've gotten that a lot. And that's why I mentioned traveling around the state to get to know more about where you live, because the issues that affect you, that are important to you, they're kind of regional in the state of Florida. We're kind of a hotbed of different things. Things like the environment. We didn't even talk about this before. Derek mentioned it about stuff that's being banned left and right. So I live in the beach community in Hollywood. We already talked about banning plastic bags and the straws. And I guess we'll talk about straws. And all that stuff, right? So we have to provide, in Broward County, market solutions to these problems. Instead of going around saying, ban the EPA or ban this, ban that. I mean, not ban it, but abolish it, because that sets alarms off. We have to present these issues in a way that present the solutions. Whereas in the North, I would think gun control is definitely a big, big thing. We've had Mothers Against, whatever their name is, Mothers Against Gun Sense in Tallahassee. They all wear the same red t-shirts. You can see them from a mile away. That's what we have to be doing more. Issue advocacy is important. We have to work with different organizations that are issue specific, but we have to make sure that the media knows, that the community knows, that the state knows that
What's
the Libertarian Party was there.
What's the one?
Well, the one, that's tough. I mean, again, we had gun control passed last year, SB 7026, that's a big one. What's going to sell here in Florida? I guess the bottom line is what sells here. The bottom line, which is taxation. Any issue in regards to money being spent and the bottom line, money in your pocket, because we still have a lot of senior citizens who live in Florida, or people that want to move to Florida, and they want to move to Florida because it's a cheaper cost of living. So we have to talk about issues in ways that help people save money, basically.
Thank you. So, Spencer?
I don't really have a ton on this. I would say that probably gun rights would be a major issue for us. Florida has, passed, like you said, 726 is a huge thing over the past year that has been passed as restricted gun rights across the state, including raising ages and everything. As a 22-year-old, I think that does concerns people I know a lot. I think it would really help with a lot of youth outreach. I do think that youth outreach is a huge thing. And I do think that gun rights, especially framed in a way of protecting college students, college-age women, of course, I think could benefit a lot from gun rights. I think that across the state, just an increased message of self-protection, and not necessarily saying I need this gun for hunting or whatever. Really getting into what are the real reasons that you would need a firearm for day-to-day use that are really the sensible protection that people would need. So I would say probably gun rights. That yield my time.
Steve?
They say Key West is where the weird go pro. I guess I'm just an amateur. As far as policy goes, what does it matter what they think? You know, the chairman is not the dictator. The chairman is a position of accountability. The chairman is the one who's supposed to make stuff happen within the organization.
It's also the voice.
It is also the voice of the organization, yes. But it's up to the candidates to decide what policy items they want to go after. I mean, me personally, I've been debating libertarianism since I was in college. I was a part of Young Americans for Liberty. I chaired my chapter. Every week we'd go out at the table, we'd set it up on campus, and we'd have dialogue with people that agree with us or didn't agree with us for hours and hours on end. I've probably spoken with over 1,000 people, just tabling on campus. So, you know, I have a lot of things that have problems with government on. It depends. If there's something, you know, I do want to seek media attention for the party. I do want to represent the party well in the media. So if there is an issue, you know, I would want to obviously speak on behalf of that issue on behalf of the party. So if there's an issue on gun rights.
Can I give you a quick follow-up to that while he's going? Okay.
So, you know, I believe a lot of things. I'm pro-guns, I'm anti-taxes, I'm yada, 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 because, you know, I'm a libertarian. I believe in the things libertarian believes in. You know, there's a wide spectrum of beliefs that I have that I believe I share with a lot of people on this panel. It all depends on, you know, the party is going to go in the direction the party is going to go in as far as, you know, what the candidates are really what matters. The policy, the individual candidates, the individual races, what their platforms are going to be, what their policy advisors advise them as far as policy, and that's where we need to be candidate-centric, because my job is not to be the candidate. But I will speak on behalf of the party when the need arises and there's an opportunity to put a libertarian message into the public.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I was gonna ask.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
if you have a follow-up question, go ahead.
Oh, no, I hear you guys. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. As many of you know, I'm the author of the press releases for the Libertarian Party of Florida for roughly a year now. Of course, it goes through a screening process, and namely this guy. But yes, I'm the author of a lot of our positions in the state party, which are reviewed by our chairman. Regardless of the issue, whether it's guns or pot or distracted driving, which is about to pass right now, it's all, my message is in our party message, it's always been personal responsibility. So whether it's guns or pot or whatever it is, of course, as my friend here said, each community has its own specific hot buttons or things that are interested in. But it's my suggestion that your message should always carry the message of personal responsibility. Guns, for example, if I have time. You know, mothers are scared about their kids getting shot up at school or at malls or whatever. We all know that's a negligible, minimal thing that's going to happen. We don't want gun control, as my friend is a leader on. But why don't we suggest what a safe and sane, responsible alternative is to gun control, to enforcement, to taking our guns away? That's the challenge, to demonstrate personal responsibility. Thank you.
Pedro, can I do a quick redress to something that Ian was saying?
Let's get Philip to finish and we'll come back to you.
Okay.
okay, I have a totally different answer. Time. Ladies and gentlemen in this room, we are mortal creatures. We're going to one day shuffle off this mortal coil, and that time that we have is finite. How much of your time do you spend working to pay government fees, working to pay your taxes, working to comply with government regulations? This is time you will never get back, you will never see again, that you cannot spend with your friends, your family, or your loved ones. That is what we fight for.
Yeah. I'm just going to say real quickly, and everybody can get a chance to read this, to touch on what you said, Wayne. You know, it's hard to pick one issue, so I kind of agree with Stephen, but you have here a member of the Legislative Review Committee, and that's why we have a Legislative Action Committee, Legislative Action Committee, and Vice Chair Candidate, so that they are the ones that look at the issue, because it always changes. And to say, this is the thing that we have to fight for this year. So that's all I want to say.
I'll finish up. I don't want to ask any more answers, but I mean, basically the purpose of that question was, okay, that we're not sticking our fingers in the air and getting our issues from, you know, who we think we should be getting them from the public. Either we stand for something or don't. And people don't come into the party, okay, with all due respect, I've been in a long time, for the most part, for their candidates. They come for whatever their hot button issue is, and I think that that's, whatever it is, if it's one or it's two, we need to speak up for it, okay, at the state level. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm, you know, I'm a hardline libertarian. I do believe that as far as what our candidate's concerned, it's easier to defend a hardline message than it is to defend a moderate, pragmatic message. I don't believe it. You know, so to answer your question,
No problem with that.
Yeah. I personally, you know, when it comes to libertarian policy, you know, I think we got to swing an axe at it. We got to be strong. We have to have. We need to not be afraid to be polarizing. I don't want to be the party everybody's favorite beer. You know, everybody kind of likes Bud Light, but they really love some craft beer. You know, I want to be what people love, what people have emotion towards. I want the party to be the brand of politics. You know, we're talking about an ism here. I want to promote that ism, you know, in its full flesh. I don't want to water down very libertarianism. So maybe more accurately address your point there. You know, from a personal perspective, you know, I do want to see hardline candidates. Hardline stands when there's points where those issues come up, and if there was a point where I could talk on behalf of the party,
We'll discuss it over beer later.
And,
Yeah.
And I think, Jay, Mark, you on one last still.
Yeah, I'll make that
subject
short.
before we move on to the next
Thank
question.
you for pointing out the member of Legislative Action Committee. The discussions that we have are specific to your concern. What issues can we take on that are, or what positions can we make that are widespread and specifically an invasion of personal rights? Distracted driving is a classic case of why we took this on. In about maybe a week, it will now become a primary offense to talk on a cell phone while you are driving. Not just texting, ladies and gentlemen, talking. It will be a primary offense. If a cop sees you driving by with a cell phone to your mouth, he or she can stop you. These are issues that affect, 99.9% of every single driver in this state. And guess what? Only about 1.0001 of them cause accidents because they're incapable or they're incapable of driving while texting. Personal responsibility. Hold those people responsible. Do not tell the rest of us what to do if we can do it safely. And you know what? If I want to pet my dog or pet my wife or eat a hamburger and I can do this without wrecking, why should I be prevented to do so just because there's some stupid people out there?
Okay.
That is what the Legislative Action Committee is focused on, and that's what we're here about.
So John, we just.
This is good, real quick. I just want to share a little story of past success that we've had when we focus on a particular issue. I'm going to bring up one, red light cameras. No one likes red light cameras. David Levitt, who was once a very active member of the Libertarian Party and elected to the city council, off the top of my head, I feel bad. I can't remember the name of the city offhand right now.
Longwood, probably.
Huh?
Longwood, I think.
Longwood.
Yeah.
Anyway, he basically had a letter to the editor campaign to get rid of red light cameras in Longwood. And it worked. We can be issue driven and have success and get people into this movement. It's worked, and we should focus on it.
I'm not running for any state position in this room, but I've been up to Tallahassee twice this year with 2 different organizations lobbying, and if I were up there running, the answer I would have given Wayne is housing. We are not on point and on the housing conversation. as the third largest political party in the state of Florida, we are missing it right now. I was debating with Anna Escamani last night, who's running point on trying to push rent control legislation. And I talked to her in her office up there when I was with CFHLA, and she explained to me, she said, Derek, we don't actually want rent control. What we're trying to do is we're trying to push the right to the left. So we're going with a hard left goal of rent control. What we want is to the left of what they would have done had we not put that legislation in. So I think the Libertarian Party has an opportunity to hit housing and separate ourselves philosophically from the Republicans and the Democrats. So that's how I would answer that. Just for context, I wanted to throw that out there.
Any other questions from LPOC?
I do have one question for it's primarily for the chair candidates, although others can take a stab at it too if you want. So there's been a lot of talk by multiple candidates, perhaps even all of you, about committees, ensuring the committees are staffed, ensuring the staff on the committees are working. The question after the chair candidates is, have you thought through what methodology you're going to use to find people to make the appointments to these committees? It is at least as the rules are written, it is the chair's duty to make the appointments, and then the executive committee can either confirm or reject those appointments. So I'd like to ask each chair candidate, how will you find people for these committees? And then I guess for the other candidates, what vetting and review process will you use to decide whether the chair's appointments make sense?
So we'll start with Omar.
Okay, so I briefly touched on this on the website, and I need to go into more detail about it. When during our previous administrations, not this current one, what we used to do is we communicate. Communication is so important. Actually, I did mention communication on my website. Communication is really important. Me and Steve are officers of the party. We talk every week. Me and Brandon, we talk every week with our secretary. And Marcos, sometimes. So, but when it was myself, Charlotte, Suzanne, and Jane Forrest, we talk a lot. You don't have to like the people who you work with, you just have to have a common moral mind to work with. We also had a CRM at the time, so I'm really hopeful for eCanister to be an answer, but I also would like to continue to work with National because I think sharing information and communication is good. Communicating with them is good. Even if we get nothing, we lost nothing. So the way we used to do it was people would come to us, they still do. I get emails all the time about volunteer positions. I want to volunteer for this. I have this skill set. We take the people who have the best skill set for a given committee and we put them there. It's not about friends. It's not about personal relationships or people who supported you during your campaign. It's about who can do the job. I'm willing to appoint people to committees that straight up said bad things about me because I know they can do the job. And I have a big part of this too is having institutional knowledge. Being here as long as I've been here, I know who's good at what, and I've seen people in action, a lot of people that are active in the party in action. So, I have a good mind. I have a good process of which I'm going to use in order to staff our committees, as well as, and the last one I want to say, I'm going to talk about train of thought here, was that bringing people in. If we're bringing people in, then that's how we'll staff the committees. Right now, we're burning people out. We got to bring more people in and put them where their skill set matches. Thanks.
Good answer.
Yeah, to Omar's point, the committee structure is a meritocracy. So we need to find the people that are obviously most qualified to be in those positions as chairman and committee members. For instance, candidate support committees should be staffed by people that are or have been candidates, preferably elected officials, that walk the walk, that have gone through the process, that know the rules, that have things that they can bring to the table because they've lived through it, they've gone through it, and then the rest would obviously be the executive committee members to whatever is required by the bylaws. Same goes with every other committee. They need to be qualified for the role. And how I plan to do that is obviously reach out to the people starting now, see who's interested in those positions, start making plans to accommodate that, speak with people, interview them, talk to them on the phone, and see what their experience is, why they'd be a good candidate, and go through it and make the right decisions at the end. As far as communication is concerned, it's definitely an opportunity. One thing that I have done in the past is brought committee chairs together at meetings, and just said, let's have the communication chair talk with the fundraising chair. Let's have the membership talk with the IT committee. Where can we have synergy? Is the left hand talking to the right hand? Is the brain talking to the liver? We need everybody to be whole as one, working together. So just having those meetings, having the chairs unite, work together, that's very important. It's extremely fundamental, and it's something that we need to do. Just bring the committee chairs together, make sure there's communication, make sure there's accountability. Goals, they have to be, obviously, when goals are set, we need to hold them accountable. They need to be measurable, they need to be time-driven, they have to be realistic, and they have to be attainable. So, we need to set goals and have our accountability, keep our chairs working together as a whole unit. And obviously the people that are most qualified need to be in those positions. And if there's people that aren't qualified or aren't doing their job, not pulling their own weight, then we need to make decisions at that point.
Thank you. Smart goals, huh?
Organizing libertarians is very much so like herding cats. I'm sure we've all heard this moniker. We definitely need a process to vet and screen and set proper expectations with individuals that are seeking appointments to our committees and the party. But we can't have a system that is so rigid and bound up by bureaucracy. We must have a streamlined process. I would also like to see the creation of a transitional team. If we're not learning from the prior institutional knowledge, we're losing knowledge. We must be able to retain people and the knowledge moving forward. I would like to see the creation of a transitional team. We must have clear defined goals and expectations of the individuals and a streamlined process to vet and train these individuals in a timely manner.
I did have an answer. And, all right, go ahead,
Yeah, you're good. To address how committees should be staffed, I do want to say that about a week or two ago, Spencer made a spreadsheet outlining this very thing. As I've said, committees are very important to me. I've made a spreadsheet outlining what the bylaws say committees should be doing, what the ideal members of committees would have experience in. Usually the title of the committee kind of tells you what experience they should have. But anything else than that, and then a column for potential committee members, potential committee chairs. As a committee chairman myself, I have some ideas of who should be membership committee chair, and whether I become vice chair or not, even though I'm currently unopposed, you never know what can happen. And whoever wins chair, I do plan on giving this potential committee roster to whoever wins and recommending those people for those positions. I've got a few of them filled out at the moment. It's still a work in progress, but there are some more committee chairs I would like to talk to about who they think would be good for the positions. I think it's important to get people from across the state. I think it's important that you ask every single person, do they want to be on the committee? Do they want to do the work? Can they do the work? Are they interested in the success of the LPF? If the answer is no to any of them, I don't think they're a good fit for a committee. So it's keeping these committees staffed with who wants to be there, who has the experience, who has the ability to be there, and that is currently being grouped. So, with that,
I'll refer to my previous comments, but vetting and commitment are certainly important. But I believe there's a position on some committee for everyone who wants to serve. And I heartily invite as many people who are willing to show up to the party to join a committee and participate. That's how you keep a thriving committee structure going. Thank you.
Rules Chair is not a member of the EC and has no voice in this.
So, any other questions from the LPOC?
Which means the rules committee is not appointed by the chair, they're elected by all of you.
Yeah, I told them earlier, yes.
Any other questions?
So, I've been in the party for a few years now and intentionally never ran for state positions because honestly I've been navigating, trying to figure out my own identity in the party, and I think that's a process that we have to realize happens. the legislative action is where I'm at. This going up to Tallahassee and exposing myself to that was quite a experience for me. So my question is, what are we doing as a party under any of y'all's leadership to improve and widen the voice of the Libertarian Party of Florida on legislation that's going through Tallahassee and happens every spring? What are we doing to combat that, and how would any of you, I guess this is
Mr. Chair, this is a question for the chair, vice chair, or the whole panel?
I want to know, I know there's a committee chair here, but I want to know under your leadership, if any of you are elected, how you would facilitate maybe stepping it up a notch as the LPF in relation to, I mean, if we can't get people elected per se, we can certainly impact through press releases and all that, the stuff that's going through, whether we're paying attention to it or not, in Tallahassee.
I'll answer and then we'll let the chair can. I thank you, but I'm not the chair of the LAC. We've been brought by lack of participation.
You have a new volunteer.
Life, super. Life happens, we understand that. But when you have a very small committee, when life happens, suddenly the committee deflates. What I would love to do, and I was talking to my friend there before we started, if we had enough members in legislative action, we could actually send a lobbyist to Tallahassee 2, 3, 4 days a month and actually lobby for us. Put them up in a cheap hotel, give them some, some cheap food or whatever, but we can have a presence in Tallahassee. That would be my desire of legislative action, in addition to all the work we're doing.
So Leon County is the county where Tallahassee is located. Leon lost its affiliation status recently, and it is very important to me that we get it back. Each affiliate, as I was talked about before, affiliates are obviously extremely important, but each affiliate has its own goals, right? We all want to grow membership, we all want to get candidates elected. Leon is in the state capital, or Leon is where the state capital is located. So we want an affiliate there, we want more people involved. This is where FSU is as well. There is a huge Students for Liberty chapter there. Students for Liberty doesn't have chapters, thankfully, but we can utilize the youth and colleges across the state for these issues as well. We can get them to the Capitol building. If we have an active Leon affiliate, we can try and get them to be lobbyists for us so we don't have to send anyone anywhere. They live there, they can go home, sleep in their own beds, maybe do some more lobbying the next day. Who knows? But it's very important that we recognize the potential of affiliates, where they're located, what their purpose can be. And I do think that regrowing the Leon affiliates would be extremely important for getting lobbying the legislature, especially when they're in session, and getting issues out there that the Libertarian Party can be focused on. So.
I just joke around because I might move it here, so. Go to the chairs, I guess. Want to start with Steve, and then come back around.
So that's a great point. What are we doing to increase our lobbying efforts in Tallahassee? I think we have a couple of opportunities. I know that Georgia, they have somebody who's friendly to certain libertarian ideals in Tallahassee, or in their capital, who they kind of use as an avatar to make some things happen. So that is one avenue. That's pretty sympathetic. Obviously, it's not our main, our most preferable option. I do like the idea of affiliating Leon County and getting someone there on the Legislative Action Committee and getting them, front row seats to all the action and putting them in Tallahassee and increasing lobbying efforts there. There's definitely opportunities, and if you're willing to step up, and then there's others who are willing to step up. I know, Chris, you've been around the Capitol a few times.
We randomly bumped into each other.
Actually, there you go. Last place you think you see a Libertarian is Tallahassee, right?
It seems that way, yes.
For now, at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's definitely opportunity there. I'm all ears if there are people that are interested in becoming lobbyists, that are interested in having that monitor job. I'm sure we can integrate that. I know it's been tossed around, possibly paid lobbying efforts in the future, but if there's those who are willing to serve in that capacity, you should put them in the right place and make it happen.
John?
Yes, I definitely think this particular role is best suited for the Legislative Action Committee, and I think this question can easily tie into a previous question. As the chair's role to oversee appointments, it would be my duty to make sure that we have the most qualified candidates and well as individuals, staff on the Legislative Action Committee. So we need to make sure that we have those who are willing to participate, willing to commit, willing to drive, people who live in Leon County, willing to go up to Tallahassee and really make sure their voice is heard. So it really just comes down to making sure that we have that particular committee well-staffed with those who are willing to make the commitments and sacrifices necessary to make sure the Libertarian message is heard in Tallahassee. I yield my time.
Okay, so I've talked about this before, about how one issue affects another, and membership growth is one of them, and affiliate support is one of them. I can go through Leon. I love Spencer's idea. We have to get Leon back. That's a great idea, and that's part of the solution. Another part of the solution is a political party also exists, not just to get people elected, but to affect public policy making. So there's many ways, to touch on what Derek's saying, there are many ways to affect public policy making without getting people elected. Chris, you're a good example of that. I myself as well, because I've lobbied for things and I've also been active in that. I've also been in Tallahassee before. This falls into the role of the chair. The role of the chair really is an administrative one, and going to Tallahassee and speaking on issues or speaking up about things that the Legislative Action Committee might say, hey, this is what we have to fight for, that's the duty of the chair. So I'm going to lead by example, and I've already done that. I've been to Tallahassee before. I went from someone who never went to Tallahassee to someone who goes to Tallahassee on average about 3 times a year. So I will lead the way. I drive a 6-seater SUV. I can bring people with me along the way. So we can do it through voluntary efforts, or we can do it through paid lobbying. But one way or the other, or we can fundraise. This is one of many things, one of many goals that we can, and a milestone that we can set towards it is fundraising. Help us fundraise to send people to Tallahassee. We did it last year when Zach was fighting for 7026. We voluntarily put together, how much money was it, Chris? Like $600? Remember stay there? I don't remember. Oh, Derek was there, right? We put it this way, a lot of people fundraise.
I didn't go up for that, but I think a few $100.
Yeah,
its way up there.
we fundraise to keep one person in Tallahassee fighting 7026. We've done it before and we can do it again. Under my leadership, we will do it again. Thank you.
In the interest of time, we're going to open the questions to the rest of the folks here in the general floor. Do you have any? I don't know. You'll see,
I got one, I guess, for the chair candidates. I appreciate all the chair candidates being here today. I don't think there's anybody else who's announced they're running for chairs, so to have all 3 candidates here at tremendous sacrifice. I mean, every one of y'all had to drive, some more than others, but every one of y'all had to drive, and you made it, so thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that every one of you has a record to stand on. You're not just campaigning for a title. You're not just campaigning to be somebody or to put your name out there. You're campaigning on your record of accomplishments and saying, I can share this with the party because I want to see the party succeed. I don't want to see myself succeed, I want to see the party succeed. So I really appreciate that. My question is affecting legislation, whether it's at Tallahassee or whether it's at the county or whether it's at the municipal level, is probably arguably the biggest chance for success that we have, even over, at this time, I think, even over full slate candidates. I think it is easier for us to affect legislation in multiple areas of the state than it is to field the number of candidates that we need. So, and I think that by doing this, we can intrigue more people to run and be that full set of candidates. That's my personal opinion, but as far as affecting legislation, how do you feel that you should administrate the county affiliates and lead by example or encourage them to become active in their local county? As probably the biggest impact that they can have right in their own backyard.
Questions to the chairs?
To the
chair candidates.
as the administrators.
So let's start with John Luke.
I really appreciate your question, Chris, very highly. And it is something that I'm personally very passionate about, and something that has happened in my own county, Polk, which I am currently the vice chair of. As you may know, we have 40% of the city council under Libertarian control. With this level of control, we can directly impact policy. We have got rid of a countywide memorandum against the sale of smoke, against the sale of medical marijuana down in Frostproof. We've laxed housing regulations down in Frostproof, allowing for tiny homes to be built down in Frostproof. These are accomplishments that we can achieve because we have this political clout. But there are other things we can do to drive the conversation. I think as libertarians, especially those who are very seasoned, are very familiar with Carla Howe and her game that she likes to play, Who's Driving? Who's here in this room has heard of Who's Driving? So we can definitely be the centerpiece and drive the conversation. We've done this with gay rights. We've done this with the marijuana debate. We were the first party in 1972 to support marriage equality. We want the government out of your life, your bedroom, and your wallet. And we've always stood on these principles and will continue to do so. And we need to do so unequivocally throughout any part of this particular movement, at the state level, the local level, and the affiliate. And the affiliate has a special, has a particular role.
20 seconds. 20 seconds. Because they're local, they can definitely campaign on local issues and specialize in those. And we allocate those tasks out accordingly.
Omar?
Thank you. Chris, that's a really good question. It's something that I've actually gotten before. And I want to say that there's a couple different ways to answer that question. How to get the affiliates more active and administrate that kind of thing. I'm an example of that. My affiliate got really low, and we got together, and I don't take all the credit for it, but when I left my affiliate, we had $1,000 in the bank account, our own bank account, from 0 to 1,000, our own post office. We were discussing the headquarters, new branding, T-shirts, business cards, a phone number, an email, and 20 plus people coming to the meetings every month in Broward County when I left there. And it was through a lot of my ideas that I pushed, but all of us working together. So we have to give people something to work towards, obviously, but also it requires, okay, so once upon a time, we had a newsletter that went around the LPF. I have to find a copy of it. Macy John used to do it. And as I was in Broward, just living my life, just not understanding how big this party was, not understanding how big a national party was. I would get these newsletters in the email, and I would read them. They were really good. They told me about a guy named Jared Rafone who got elected in Collier County. They told me about a guy named Martin Sullivan that got elected in Polk County. They told me about things that people were doing around the state. So it's little things like that that we need to get back to doing. I talked about the media thing as well. I'd love for us to film a commercial because it's going to show what libertarians are doing. We're doing stuff, but we're not out there showing it. We need to create our own media. What do we do? What do we talk about all the time? Republicans and Democrats are elected, they're running because we don't like something that they say. Oh, the socialists, oh, the Nazis, oh, this, that. What are libertarians doing? Do you even know? Does anybody here know what libertarians are doing in Broward County? Or that we had a candidate who ran for office in Coral Springs, and that's running for office again. I mean, do we know about all our candidates around the state of Florida? Do we know that we have a state senate candidate in Duval? Again, there are things that we can create a friendly competition. There are things that are happening across the state of Florida, and when you see that, I don't have the best ideas. The best ideas come from you guys. That's why I'm so pro-affiliate. If we know what's going on in the neighboring counties, it'll inspire action to be taken by our affiliates, as well as leading by example. Sorry.
Thank you. Steve?
So make sure I understand the question. The question was, as the chair, what would I do to help keep the affiliates active and participating? Is that?
Well, I mean, as I understand it per state law, the affiliates kind of lack of a better way of putting it, serve at the will and pleasure of the executive committee.
Right.
It's the very reason why we have to have affiliate autonomy in our governing docs, to prevent the executive committee from overstepping that, what's allowed.
So,
As the chief administrator of the executive committee, how do you intend to not force or anything affiliates, but how do you intend to encourage, lead by example? How do you intend to administrate affiliates to do what we arguably could do the most impact for at the county level?
Sure. So, a couple different things to answer that question. Number one, there's the relationship between the affiliate and the state party needs to be a team-based relationship. It doesn't need to be we're the state party, you're the affiliate, you do what we say. It should be this is what we're offering. Are you going to join us? Do you want to be a part of whatever it is we're doing? And there needs to be value in both directions. So that's number one. Number two, if I'm at a state, or if I'm at a local affiliate, I'm not the most important person in that room. The most important person in that room should be the region representative. The region representative is the one who the affiliate's going to be working with, to be represented at the state party. That person really needs to be the most powerful, important person in that room. The chair shouldn't, and mind me, I do want to call up all the affiliate chairs. I do want to have some form of contact with them to see what's going on at the ground level. Because as soon as you become chair, or as soon as you become a head of an organization, there's a bubble, and the bubble starts forming. And all the advisors and all the people, they'll tell you how great everything is and what's going on, and information gets filtered. So, as chair, I do want to hear from the people, on the ground, what exactly is going on, and to see really what's happening. If I have a restaurant I haven't visited in a while, I talk to my GM, hi, how's everything? How's everything going? How's labor? How's food costs? Everything is good, boss, everything is good. And I show up and everything is falling apart, the floors are dirty, customers are unhappy. I look at our feedback is bad, service times are high, and I talk to a crew member and there's issues. So what I'm trying to say is, I definitely want to have a hand in speaking with the affiliate leaders, but I think the main role, the most important person in the room is going to be the regional representative.
I just want to follow up on the question.
Okay. 1 minute.
All right, so we've had definitely success in the past. I know when Polk was part of Region 9, Region 9 still has a Region 9 event where all the local affiliates of that region get together and share ideas. That way we're not recreating the wheel. And if one county affiliate is hosting an event, the county affiliate will reach out to neighboring county affiliates to increase our numbers and presence at an event. And this has done wonders of creating cohesion amongst county affiliates and increased retention rate of affiliates in that particular region. And we definitely need to continue that.
Can I follow up? And one more thing I wanted to add too, I know during Operation First Step, there was a lot of affiliates that felt disenfranchised north of Miami, or especially Central Florida. And
Said it right the first time.
well, north of Miami, there was a lot of disenfranchised candidates. One of the things that I didn't like is I think in I don't know if it was Columbia, it was somewhere in north central Florida, there was a candidate that ran, and the local affiliate didn't even know that that was an Operation First Step candidate. They're like, how can you have a candidate? How do we not connect? So I think it's really important that the state party does not overstep the affiliates. It needs to be a symbiotic relationship. There needs to be value both ways. The state party should be giving, tools like e-canvasser. They need to be giving personnel support. They need to be giving, candidate support. All those different things. But it should not overstep the affiliates. It needs to be an involved process where everybody's at the table and they feel like they're involved.
Yeah, I'll just say that the most, there's a saying that says, the individual doesn't exist to make the government better. The government exists to make the individual better. The LPF exists to make the Libertarian better. You are the most important people in this room. And I would like to ask all of you to ask whoever's elected chair to hold us accountable. Leadership makes people around them better, and they in turn create other leaders. That's how we're going to inspire more action, more positive action. We're going to create a positive work environment. I've always respected our affiliates, and I will continue to do that as your chair. Thank you.
Any more questions from the floor? I'd like to thank each of you for coming over here to our affiliate. You know, we're happy to have you here. It's been an awesome session. Thank you for taking time to come over here and being here, and look forward to seeing each of you guys here in, what is it, 7 days now? It's something to that effect here in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Always in order.
No, I'm going for a second.
Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we will, if you can help, we're gonna move these tables back a little bit real quick. And then I would imagine we can work our way over to Chili's for a beverage.